Test 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I think we are, well, mostly. Okay, now I think we have our microphones ready. Okay, good evening and welcome to the South County Fire Board of Commissioners regular board meeting for July 7, 2026. I will call us to order and ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, board members, you have in front of you the draft agenda for this evening, and I believe, Chief, nothing else for the agenda? We don't have anything else for the agenda. Anything else for the agenda, board members? If not, I will move the adoption of the agenda as presented. Is there a second?
Our second.
Second by Commissioner Chan. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. That moves us forward in the agenda to item number 4, which is the consent agenda. We have first 4A, which is the July 7, 2026 claims vouchers totaling $2,004,288.90, and 4B, which is the June 2026 payroll summary and authorization. I'll move the adoption of those consent agenda items. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fernhoff. It's been moved and seconded to adopt those consent agenda items. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Aye.
That moves us forward in the agenda to item number 5. In 5A, we have the June 8, 2026 special meeting workshop meeting minutes and the June 9, 2026 special meeting work session meeting minutes. I'll move the adoption of those two sets of meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wankelman. It's been moved and seconded to adopt those meeting minutes. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. That moves us forward to item number 6, which is public comment. And we'll start first in the room separately. Just so everybody knows, for the agenda, we do have a separate public hearing on redistricting, which there'll be an opportunity to speak to redistricting later. Of course, anybody can speak to any issue related to the fire, to the RFA here in public comment. But we'll start first then with public comment. And I think here in the room, I think we have Ms. Goss. Wish to address the board in public comment. Please come forward to the microphone. And Ms. Goss, good evening. And if you could please state your name for the record. And you have.
Yes,
3
sir.
minutes.
My name is Mary Jane Goss. I'm a resident of Edmonds. You'll have to excuse me. I was prepared to do the redistricting first because I was under the impression that started at the earlier time, but it looks like it's different on the agenda. So you want to hear the one about public comment in general first?
Yes, we're here for the public comment. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. My mission tonight is to urge the board to exercise maximum transparency and fiscal caution regarding Proposition 1. While modern, seismically secure facilities are a shared priority, the timing and long-term cost of this $420 million bond raises concerns. Public funding should not be considered bottomless. First, as far as timing, household budgets are being squeezed by persistent inflation, grocery cost, and fuel prices that remain stubbornly high. More of us are facing unemployment, and our governor has signed additional taxation known as the millionaire's tax. These escalating fuel and energy costs hit households, local businesses, and the district's own operational bottom line. Forcing a massive capital ask requires an extraordinary level of justification. A facilities plan drafted over a decade ago must bend to the economic realities of 2026. Second, I have concerns, deep concerns regarding representation and financial stewardship. The board's repayment structure adds an additional $50 million in unnecessary interest just to defer an immediate impact. As a resident of Edmonds, the district's newest member, our voice here feels far off. Following last year's elections, Edmonds residents face much higher tax bills with no increase in services despite the district's acquisition of our city's real estate and station assets, a partial of them. Your employees have the immense benefit of represented union membership and open partnership in district decision-making. Taxpayers and residents, I offer, do not. If you want true community buy-in from Edmonds, those of us voicing concerns must be treated as partners and not opposition. Our mayor and city liaison explicitly asked for a clause, a smaller bond, and a backup plan, but that's not what happened. Yet the district is moving forward without receiving applications from anyone in the district for the voters pamphlet, con committee, meaning that I'm not the only one that didn't get the message. I urge to go the extra mile by proactively reaching out to qualified individuals that have voiced concerns and extending the deadline for the con committee applications so the public will have a way to weigh both sides fairly. Finally, the station slated for the 216th and Highway 99 in Edmonds. People are asking for explicit data on why this site was chosen and the exact land acquisition cost. Property owners shouldn't write a blank check for vaguely defined footprints. That's the perception. We don't have them. I asked this board to provide clarity on siting metrics, account for inflation's impact on project scope, and extend the con committee timeline. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Goss. Is there anybody in the room? We'll go to the Zoom platform in a second, but is anybody else in the room here for public comment? Anybody else for public comment? If not, we'll go to the Zoom platform. Ms. Blankenship, could you let me know if there's any requests for public comment on the Zoom platform?
We do not have anyone.
Now I'll come back one last time to the room. Any requests for public comment in the room? Additional requests for public comment in the room? If not, thank you. We will move forward in the agenda then to item number 7, which is the Fire Chief's report. Good evening, Chief Maxwell.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chair, board members. Put a slide up here. We're starting. We've been talking about the up and coming retirements, and we're starting to see those retirements. This officially, Chief Eastman is now retired. 3 battalion chiefs retired, a captain, and 3 more firefighters. Literally hundreds of years of experience, retiring, and institutional knowledge and contributions of decades to this organization. Many of the people retiring made significant contributions to leaving this place better. And we are just extremely appreciative and grateful, and their absence will truly be missed. The contributions they made. So big congratulations and thank you to them. My other, I guess, appreciation is the organization, the commissioners, just huge participation, both at the Lake Ballinger fireworks event, the public display there, thousands of people, as well as thousands of people at the Edmonds Parade. Just great participation from all areas of the organization. I really appreciate our chief officers. Both at the Lake Ballinger event and the parade, we had a unified command with the local law enforcement and provided a lot of safety there in case anything were to happen. And just a good exercise for us to be prepared for really anything that might come in the future. Preliminarily, it was busy, a busy call volume wise, maybe a little busier than normal. As you know, we run 100 to 110 calls every 24-hour period. We ran just shy of 20 fires. None of them turned into structure fires except for one in Everett, which we responded up to Everett and assisted them with their structure fire. And no major trauma events related to fireworks. We'll double check our data. Usually we have more to report on that. There's always lots of variables. It was cool and wet leading up to that, which we're very grateful for. We did have a few brush fires the next day. So we'll be watching, just being vigilant, just watching for brush fires because the fireworks seem to tend to go over as we get drier. We notice a few more fireworks fires as we go beyond the 4th of July. And that concludes my report. Happy to take any questions.
Great. Commissioner, board member questions for the chief and the chief's report. Commissioner Chan, did you?
Well, I was,
Commissioner Wonkelman, Commissioner Farnham.
I was at the instant command in the car and looking at all the drone that flying through, and then all the manpower that we have in the event. I think a lot of times I think the citizen or a resident don't understand the behind the scenes. I mean, I'm glad nothing happened. If something happened, we're there, right there. I think this kind of a message you need to go out to the public. That it's just not, we're just not responding you when you call. We also be there just to stand by, just in case, because it's a huge crowd. It's a lot of people there, right? And then I was counting how many trucks that we have. Of course, I'm thinking, okay, how many people, how many manpower we have? It's amazing. So I think, and you yourself were there, busy, and even on the volunteer thing and showing kids and the equipment and everything else. I think many citizens know this stuff. And I mean, it is expensive, but it is must have. We must have, right? I mean, so I thank you for allowing me to be in there to watch all this, but the message needs to go out. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your interest and support. And when we have crowds of this size, it is following best practice to be prepared. A lot of times we already want to be communicating with our law enforcement partners, and we actually had two opposite events. They're called bounded and unbounded. A bounded event is where everyone's at the same location. An unbounded event is a parade route. So they both require different approaches and preparedness. And when you have crowds of that size, it is best practice to be prepared for that, because it is, you often can't respond into those locations as you would a normal call at a business or a resident.
Well, you always heard it in other country, treat people in stadium, whatever, they're trembling each other, right? They're causing all that stuff. I think that is really critical. And so.
Thank you.
Thank you for the whole operation.
Commissioner Wonkelman.
Yeah, Chief, first and foremost, again, this is my first 4th of July, and I just want to, compliment you, team, on an incredible presence, the complexity of the operations in which, I was able to witness on July 3rd, the intricacies that were occurring between both law enforcement and first responders, South County was just impeccable. I felt very confident that no matter what could potentially occur, the team was ready for response, and I just gained so much faith in the process and the decision making and the command and control that was in operational effect. Community is lucky to have such forward-thinking leadership constantly involved in different aspects of community. And you know, with the 4th of July being what it is, personally, it means a lot to me, and to be able to be a part of, you know, this team for the first time was truly humbling and an honor. And so thank you for everything that your team is doing. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your team's leadership. And I just want to, again, you know, commend you for a job well done over I guess the busiest time of year for the fire department.
Thank you. I really, Chief Weigel, Heller, Curtis, Captain Willis, Shawnery, Laurel, the CERT team, our volunteer lieutenants, our environment, you know, they get all the credit. They were there interacting with the public. We quickly ran out of stickers and hats, and people were going to all of our locations looking for more. So we had just incredible time, especially with the kids. They just loved the trucks, and we need more plastic helmets.
Commissioner Fernhoff.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chief, for the report. I know we glazed over it, but I just want to echo my sincere appreciation for everybody who's now stepped into the retirement zone, especially our former fire chief, Chief Eastman. Wish him well, and wish everybody well. You've done a tremendous job in contributing to, as we could look at this as Lego blocks of building an organization that's going to last generations. And so thank you to everybody sincerely who's stepped over the line. You mentioned it briefly, but I think it was the first time out the gate. I wasn't part of your festivities this year, but I understand the CERT teams, instead of just being trained, organized, and then laid to do nothing, we're actually employed, for the lack of a better term, both at Lake Ballinger and for the Edmonds Parade. And we're there to offer augmentation for our regular services. And I think the first time we're doing minor first aid support and some other things. And I think that is just spot on. That's so critical for every opportunity that we have to engage our CERT volunteers in the community. Without that, they tend to drift, they tend to fade because they don't have anything to do until the earth shakes, right? And that doesn't, thankfully, happen too often. So thank you for having the foresight and the willingness to engage those folks, and really appreciate everybody's contributions.
That's a great point. Yeah, the CERT teams were very engaged, and you're right. It's important. We need to keep them engaged because sometimes the big disasters don't happen for years, and this allows them to have teamwork, engage with our firefighters. Retired Captain Jimmy Greco has joined our CERT team, and he was there manning the first aid station. So even had some of our retired firefighters coming back and joining our CERT team, which I think is pretty cool.
Thank you, Chair. Any other questions for the chief from the board members on the chief's report? Any other questions? Great. Thank you, Chief. All right, that moves us forward in the agenda then to item number 8, which is our legal report. We have our general counsel, Richard Davis, with us this evening on Zoom. Good evening, Mr. Davis.
Good evening, Commissioners. I wanted to spend a moment just talking about something that kind of happens more often these days than it used to, and is sort of invisible to the Commission. And that is, South County Fire is active in terms of entering into interlocal agreements with other agencies. A lot of times those agencies are clients of ours. And so we find ourselves representing not only South County Fire, but another agency that South County Fire wants to enter into an agreement with. And one of the things you don't often see is kind of the communication that goes on behind the scenes. And that is, before we can do any work on an agreement involving both clients, we have to ensure that essentially the deal points are agreed to. Because we have ethical rules that govern our profession. And it does make sense oftentimes to use the same lawyer. It saves money, particularly when both sides are in alignment on an issue. And we've had a number of these examples of really this year alone, and it's getting more and more common. Sharing of equipment, sharing of employees, things of that nature. And I just want to say that when we are faced with this kind of project, we first of all ensure that the parties' interests are aligned. And we have to send out a conflict waiver letter that the chiefs of both agencies sign, which just recognizes the fact that we'll act as sort of a scribe for the departments and draft that agreement. But if there ever is a conflict over the negotiation at some point, or if we have to give advice to one party that's contrary to a different party, we have to back out at that point. And so our conflict letter just recognizes that and ensures that we can maintain neutrality in that in that role as essentially drafting an agreement as a scribe. So I just wanted to mention that because I sometimes feel that you may wonder, you're signing or approving interlocal agreements, which involve agencies that sometimes we may represent. And it's become more of an issue with the joint, when Brian Snur joined our firm as of counsel, because then Brian's clients are also deemed to be clients of our firm. So it has become, more frequent. But I wanted to mention that's what happens, and that, of course, if we ever do feel that there is divided loyalties that we would have amongst the two clients, we would back out, and that's stated up front. So that's all I have for tonight. If there's any questions about that process, happy to answer them.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Questions from the board members for Mr. Davis? Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. That moves us forward in the agenda to item number 9, which is the union report. And
I don't see anybody on.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody on Ms. Blankenship. Chief, did you have anybody that you
No.
anticipated?
No, they didn't notify me either way.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so no union report this evening. Thank you. That'll move us forward in the agenda to item number 10, which is our public hearing for commissioner redistricting. We have our redistricting maps here on the my right-hand side of the meeting room. They're also available on our website for those that are on Zoom. I'll go ahead and open the public hearing and ask for any public testimony regarding commissioner redistricting. And I believe here in the room, we have Mary Jane Goss again that would like to come forward and speak to the board as part of this public hearing. Please come forward.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
As I said before, I'm an Edmonds resident, and I'm here to speak on the district-wide redistricting options. My comments reflect representation, trust, and taxation concerns. In short, the taxpayers of Edmonds are now paying more for the exact same level of service we received before. When Edmonds voters approved joining the Regional Fire Authority, it followed a highly contentious debate. I was one of those campaigning against. Many of us were deeply concerned about trading away local control. We watched the city relinquish ownership of our valuable local properties and emergency assets to join this district. All the while, questions remained regarding EMS funds previously collected from Edmonds residents. Furthermore, a $10,000 campaign donation by the firefighter unions vastly outmatched what local grassroots residents could raise to voice their concerns. Despite that, we reached quite a few people. Now we face a glaring representation problem. Depending on which option this board decides on, the newly drawn district encompassing Edmonds may not see a regular election until 2029. Edmonds is contributing quite a bit towards your tax base, And yet we will go years, we could, without the structural ability to elect a representative from our own community to a designated district seat. Temporary representation is no substitute for true accountability. For these reasons, I support option 2 because it represents much of the city of Edmonds as a whole and keeps our community intact. Right now, there is clear imbalance in public trust. The district treats its internal employee union groups as valued partners, but the taxpayers, including those who are among the dissenters and the critical voices who fund the entire operation, are treated like an afterthought. During the RFA election, Edmonds residents voiced fiscal responsibility and transparency concerns. Since then, we have been continuing public comments from highly regarded citizens who have not received any partnering arrangements or reaching out from the district. My, I guess I'm closing. As an Edmond resident, I ask the board members to choose option 2 and maximize our immediate public representation and take measurable steps in some way to partner with the public you serve. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Is there any other request for public testimony in the public hearing here in the rooms? Next, I'm going to go to the Zoom platform, but let me just ask one more time in the room. Any request for testimony to the board in this public hearing regarding Commissioner redistricting? If not, let me turn it over to Ms. Blankenship to ask if we have anybody online, and in particular, if we have a Paul Whitmire perhaps online that wishes to address the board in the public hearing.
We do not.
Okay, and I mentioned that particular name, but is there anybody else requesting
We have no others.
testimony in the public hearing? Okay, so no request for public hearing, testimony in the public hearing from our Zoom platform. I'll come back one last time to the room. Any other requests for public testimony in the room? No, not seeing any. Thank you. With that, I will close the public testimony on this the public hearing on the redistricting issue, and then move to the next part of which is redistricting generally, the redistricting, I guess, public handout, and ask for discussion amongst the board members. Well, maybe I'll kind of process a little bit, and then I want to open it up to the board members about redistricting as we go forward. What I had proposed and what the board had tentatively agreed to with the head nod, no objection, was to have the open house in Edmonds, which we did last Tuesday night at the downtown fire station, which was which a number of commissioners attended, and Chief was there along with a lot of staff, and we had our maps, and I talked to a few people that were there. It was a nice hearing. There were Chief, I'm going to estimate total less than 10 people from Edmonds or the community present. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And so we did have that. Then we have the public hearing tonight. Then I was hoping to have this on the agenda at the work session next Tuesday for additional conversation, because I didn't know how much public comment we would get or where we would be in terms of ideas or other things to do regarding the maps. And then I had hoped that we could settle with a vote the redistricting maps at the third meeting of the month when we actually take action, because next week is our work session. We don't usually take action at that meeting, the second meeting of the month. So that just kind of prefaces process, but I wanted to see if there were general comments about the maps as they stand, and then I'll offer a few observations myself. But thoughts, comments, Commissioner Chan?
Well, I spent some time with one of the particular person, and he liked the plan 1. So I don't know what the output is. I think more importantly, I mean, we have all these trying to reach out to people, but I don't know how can we get more people to our meeting, because a lot of time you look at our agenda, we're talking about capital facility plan the whole year. And I just want to emphasize we're not hiring anything. and yet we cannot get interest. I'm so glad some people have come in today and to get, I don't know what the magic is. You know, you go to any city council, they always have people, but we don't. So I think that's a big thing that we have to say. We have to explain that, you know, how do we track? I'm really thank everyone coming here to listening. I look for more input coming to our meeting.
Other comments, thoughts, generally from the commissioners? I will offer a few thoughts, and that is just my observation of people from the community commenting about the maps is a preference for map 2 with at least a positive shout out to map 1. But I have not heard much in the way of support for maps 3 and 4. As I think about map 2, I did want to mention a thought to possibly present an alternative related to map 2, and it relates to where commissioners are located, living in the district, but supporting the idea of Edmonds being all in one district, District 2, map 2, District 2. And that is Commissioner Fernhoff would be written out of his, mapped out of his district in map 2. And it appears that there may be enough population in the Linwood and unincorporated part of Snohomish County, but in the current drafted 2, to move District 2 further north while still keeping Edmonds, but move forth to draw in Commissioner Fernhoff into District 2, keeping him in District 2 and not drawing him out of District 2. And so I know that Mr. Pence, who has been to the board meeting multiple times and came to the meeting next Tuesday, he is an advocate of that. And so I wanted to suggest as an alternative for the board to consider a map, ask Snohomish Data Systems, Mr. Ms. Blankenship, help me, Mr. Schweitzer, to see if that is a possibility. He knows the population numbers better than anybody, but as my swag look via my uneducated eye, there may be enough population to do that. That allows Commissioner Fernhoff to be drawn into District 2 while keeping Edmonds all of District 2, perhaps that as a map number 5. As an alternative for the board to consider. It does raise the issue for the board, which we don't have to resolve tonight, but that is, do we draw the maps? Because in the end, this board has the power to decide on the map. There's no question about that. The question is, do we do it to protect the board members and their positions where they live, or do we do it in some other fashion that is along the lines that the Revised Code of Washington has for these lines, population, communities of interest, the other things that Mr. Schweitzer has talked about here. But I think it's worth consideration of that and for the board. And I'm not saying that I'm advocating for that, but I think that that is an option to consider. In some sense, it's fair and that, you know, commissioners shouldn't be drawn out in the process. On the other hand, populations change, community of interests are changed, and as we do that, it's not always going to be possible to keep commissioners in their current seats. And so there's a tension between those things. And I don't have any great answer for that tension, but I do, as chair of the board, I'd like to present enough options for the board to consider all of those things. And then in the end, the board will decide, and we don't have to decide tonight, but it provides more information for the board. So my suggestion is I have Ms. Blankenship, or we have Ms. Blankenship, direct Mr. Schweitzer to see what the possibilities might be there. Obviously, that will change the other ones slightly to accommodate that, and that could cause other problems. So I don't know where that goes. So that's my suggestion. I got Commissioner Lawrence, Commissioner Wankelman, Commissioner Chan. Commissioner Lawrence.
So what you're looking at, does that still keep Edmonds pretty much
Yes.
all together?
Yes, that would be my suggestion. I think there is enough population there in Linwood and unincorporated Snohomish County next to Linwood to make that happen, but you know, I'm
In-
not a cartographer, so I can't say for sure.
In that area, there's nobody commissioner living there right now that you're talking about.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
I believe that's.
So they get to pick someone fresh.
It wouldn't be putting another commissioner into the same position that Commissioner Fernhoff is currently.
Okay, who would, okay. Right, so
Currently,
there's,
Commissioner Fernhoff and Commissioner Rowland are in map number 2, that's the purple area, District 4. As drawn right now, they're both in.
so we're
District
keeping
4.
7 commissioners and you're creating,
No, 5 commissioners, 5 districted commissioners,
oh, that's right, I
2 at
forgot,
large.
that's right, I
2
forgot.
at large.
So, okay,
Okay, Commissioner Wonkelman, then Commissioner Chan. Commissioner Wonkelman.
Yeah, I would really like to also support the idea of looking at the possibilities of that. I think that if we can follow all the state rules and really do this correctly while also with the necessary changes, you know, have each district represented, I think that would give us the best opportunity. Definitely want to emphasize, you know, as many have said here, keeping Edmonds together. That is a priority, and you know, I would like us to focus on that if possible. But if there is a way to do as suggested, I fully support that and would like that type of information.
Okay. Commissioner Chan.
I'll be careful how to say this. Maybe Rich can give me some answer. I thought, Rich, you said we cannot have a map drop out, get out the commissioner, get them out of the district, right?
I'm not sure I understand. Commissioner, you can draw the maps and give consideration to where commissioners sit and whether commissioners would be, taken out of a district. That's not the only consideration. You have to take into account the others that Mr. Schweitzer has mentioned, but that is something that can be considered. Is that responsive?
Yeah, I thought somehow that you said the commissioner being protected, but you know, even though they're okay, because if we change the map, here's something
I understand what you're saying. I think you're asking does the commissioners serve out their term even though they are drawn out of that district? And the answer to that is yes, you're correct.
but they did serve out, so nobody can take over that
Correct.
That
They
region.
finish out their term. Yes.
term. Okay. So here's my concern. We have so much negative feelings from the Edmonds, people, the responder we have. If we presenting a map 2 and suddenly you changing the map again, I really don't think probably is not a good idea. Then people will say, why in the world you show me the map and now you're going to redraw it again? So I'm really against redrawing the map. Yeah.
Commissioner Fernhoff.
So to level the playing field here just a little bit, if you look on the map, and if I understand the map correctly, everything that's green is District 2. Okay, we all agree with that? That's my district as it is. So I don't care what color you make the map or how you redraw the lines, District 2 still Edmonds falls into my lap unless you do the bifurcation of it where it's split up. Then you get 2 commissioners with that. So either way, you're not really moving a game piece around in any meaningful way. What you're doing is you're preventing a potential confusing conversation at the time of the election of why you have 2 commissioners serving in the same district that now technically might have to compete against each other, or one is canceled out because they no longer live within the district that they were originally elected to serve, if that makes sense.
Thank you. Commissioner Wittes, I believe you raised your hand.
Yes, I'm in favor of taking a look at the new map.
Okay. Thank you. Any other, Commissioner Lawrence?
yeah, this might reveal my lack of IQ here, but I don't understand. We have 5 districts. And the one that you're creating right now, too, there's nobody from the board in that. Okay, I think I answered my question. I figured it out.
All right. Any other questions, comments on this? My sense of the board, with Commissioner Chen not in favor, is to direct Ms. Blankenship to ask Mr. Schweitzer to prepare that map, a map 5, if possible, to do what I had indicated, and that'll provide more information for the board, and the board can do with that what it wishes, hopefully, but no guarantees for our meeting next Tuesday.
So I have a question here.
Yeah, Commissioner Chan, go ahead.
So if you withdraw it again, so are you going to show the public again the new map?
Of course.
So, okay, I really do not like you're showing the map and then you're changing it. Are you going to be changing it again? Because that's a public trust is critical, right? You show them how many people, 10 people coming in, and then you say, oh, never mind, we're going to new map for you to see it again. I think that's a very, very negative public move in here.
All right, Ms. Blankenship, if you will request that of Mr. Schweitzer, and hopefully we'll have some more information next week for only consideration. Any action would be the 3rd meeting of July, or could be later if the board chooses to move it back. All right, anything else on this subject from the board members? All right, thank you. We will move forward then in the agenda to item 11, which is capital facilities planning, the pro and con committee appointments. And that is at page 55 of the packet. We set our application windows for anybody who wished to serve on the pro and con committees, needed to live within the jurisdictional boundaries of South County Fire. We did that, I believe, opened that June 10th and closed it July 1 at 5 p.m. We received 3 applicants for the pro committee, and no applicants for the con committee. And Ms. Blankenship, if I recall correctly, there was information on our website related to this. There was also, and Ms. Veely can also, Director Veely can chime in too. There was at least one press release about it. I know there was at least one article, if not more, in the myadminsnews.com website. I don't know if there were others around the district that picked up picked it up also. But anyways, so it closed and we had no applicants for the con committee. So the matter is before the board tonight for appointment of the pro committee, and there's nobody to appoint to the con committee. And the issue will be whether latecomers are accepted by the board. And so I wanted to turn to Mr. Davis for the issue is generally raised by Ms. Goss in her questions. And the board will be able to decide, but I want you to have enough information on the issue. She raises the issue of latecomers, and I wanted to ask Mr. Davis the issue of latecomers to this. Does the board have any legal obligation what obligations does the board have regarding appointment of the con committee, where we advertised and opened the window for both committees, received applicants for the pro committee, none for the con committee? Are we obligated to accept latecomers to the con committee? Mr. Davis?
Yes. The statute that deals with this issue of appointment of the pro and con committees is found in the election statutes at 29A 32-280. And what you find there is very little information on an agency's obligations in reaching out and finding people who would be willing to serve on those committees. The general consensus is a reasonable effort has to be made. I would say that based on the publications, the posting on the website, and the other efforts that South County Fire took, it made more than a reasonable effort to solicit interested individuals to serve on either the pro or con committee. Again, there's no case law that you can cite to, and there's nothing in the statute that obligates South County Fire to do anything more than just undertake a reasonable effort, which it has done. And so it's also entitled to set a reasonable deadline so that it has time to make make the appointments. However, if the board wanted to accept latecomers, notwithstanding the deadline that it set, it would be able to do so. And I think that if I remember correctly, the last meeting of the month at which the board would take action, the regular meeting would be, I think it's July 21. So conceivably, the board could, if it wished, accept latecomers up until that date so that it could take action on the 21st. But it certainly would not be required to schedule a special meeting after that date. I will say that if no appointment is made to the con committee, then the auditor will send out will undertake efforts in an expedited fashion to try and find people who are willing to serve on the con committee.
And if I can just follow up on that, the Snohomish County Auditor for any pro and con committees there are no applicants for whatever measures there are at the general election, the primary also, but the general election opens a filing window for any applicants that they advertise, and they seek applicants, and then they have the power to appoint the auditor to any applicants to committees with no applicants. So that con committee applicants could apply to the auditor through that process. Anyways, just following up on what Mr. Davis described and the process here in Snohomish County. Okay, so I think probably the easiest thing is to take up the pro committee first, and then we can turn to the con committee. So we have 3 applicants to the pro committee. We have Shannon Sessions, Alexander Johnson, and Steve Barnes. I don't know for sure, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt if we set the chair of the committee. I've seen that done both ways, without setting the chair or setting the chair. And so actually maybe it's better not to, and just let them decide. So my intention is to make a motion to appoint those 3 individuals to the pro committee. We have 3 spots. We have 3 applicants. Seems like it's easy, and then we'll let them decide who the chair of the committee is. Are there any general thoughts around that from the board members? If not, Commissioner Chan, go ahead.
I think maybe we should get back to my admin news to let them know that we do not have any people in the con. And then we can say that we will extend the deadline until the end. At the same time, if if extend the deadline for the con, there might be another person coming on the pro group. So maybe the question back to Rich. So should we extend for both sides, or do you just want to, just since the pro group have 3 already, so we don't want to accept any more pro? What's the thought on that?
I think it's a decision that the board needs to make, that the board could extend the deadline for both, or the board could, because it set a deadline, could go ahead and make the appointment on the pro committee tonight and retain the option to appoint anybody who may apply later to the con committee, or again, could say the deadline was the deadline. Nobody timely applied, and we're just not going to make an appointment to the con committee.
So
you have all those options. Pardon
so
me.
you can extend for both, or you
could.
thinking the pro? It would be great if you can extend to the both.
That option remains at the discretion of the board.
Okay. So I would suggest that we would make the effort so that there's showing that we are truly, want to listen to that to get any other one. Because either way, the auditor can put an ad and do the con too. So might as well we do it as organization, being fair. We really want to hear from both sides of the argument.
Commissioner Fernhoff.
I appreciate Chair Kenny mentioning that we have the 3 persons that are prepared to support the pro committee. I would just submit a thought, and that is if we extend again, it gives opportunity to reconsider serving on that committee. and we could lose one of our applicants that have already chosen to be on the committee. So is it best to go ahead and appoint that pro committee now so we lock them in? Or are you looking to like weigh applicants for better qualifications? Or it's not like they're applying for a job, right?
True.
I'm just throwing that out.
Yeah, my 2 cents is we have 3 applicants, we have 3 spots. Those applicants are all qualified applicants. I think we should appoint them to the pro committee. We set a deadline that was like 3 weeks. There's been plenty of opportunity for anybody to apply that wanted to. Those that cared applied. Those that didn't care didn't apply. And that's fine. There's other things going on. It's a fair process for whoever is interested. And the interest is apparent from what we've received. So just regarding the pro committee, because I'm hoping to start there, I'd like to just appoint those 3 individuals, then we can move on. And then in a minute here, we can talk about the con committee, because I think there's maybe divided opinion regarding that. So I'm going to make a motion that we appoint to the pro committee for the bond measure, Shannon Sessions, Alexander Johnson, and Steve Barnes.
I will second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint those 3 individuals to the pro committee. Is there discussion on the motion? I wanted to start by saying I thank those 3 individuals for applying. It's a great community service to do that. I very much appreciate. I appreciate anybody that applies because just in full disclosure, I have written for pro and con committees in the past, and it's a bunch of work. You have to think and be creative in your written argument, and it's not a small task to do that. And so anybody who's willing to step up has my thanks to serve in this capacity, pro or con. So anyways, I just offer that related to those 3 individuals. Commissioner Chan.
Well, except one person is really her spouse is one of our employee. Would that be and become some bias on people saying that, being not a neutral person? I guess I don't know. I mean, because she's really famous. Everybody know her. Is that become a question? And then if someone else, come on in, maybe less bias. So that's a question.
Commissioner Wankelman.
So just with that, when you're stating pro, you already are establishing a bias because you're coming in with a predetermined approach. And so I will challenge that because the thing is that I think everybody that has applied is highly capable, highly qualified, able to have critical thinking, is capable of understanding the implications of this and the importance in this, both on the pro and hopefully on the con. It is a critical conversation that we need to have. And so I'm looking at the quality of the conversation more than anything because this is going to impact the RFA for a good period of time, regardless. And so with that, I just really stress that I think that the 3 that have applied, again, I want to echo what the chair said. Thank you so much. Thank you for your commitment to the community. Thank you for your sacrifice of time in this really important decision. And I just do also echo that I think we can move forward with the pro committee. The con committee is a conversation we'll have in a moment.
Other discussion on the motion related to appointment of the pro committee members? Any other discussion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed?
Abstain.
And 1 abstention. So the motion passes on a 6-0-1 vote with Commissioner Chan abstaining. Thank you. That moves us on to the con committee and the flavor of the board regarding the competing interests of, there was a time set of 3+ weeks or so for everybody to apply, pro or con. Nobody applied con. Is it fair for everybody? Or in the interests of trying to find applicants, do we allow latecomers? So there's some tension between the 2. Commissioner Rowland, please go ahead.
I would move that we extend the deadline 2 weeks and vote at our July 21st if there are any applicants that apply before that.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to extend the deadline 2 weeks. And Commissioner Rowland, would you be willing to agree to set that the Friday before the 21st so that we have enough time to consider in the board packet? If we have we could have multiple applicants just for
I think
administrative
that,
purposes.
I'm amenable to that because, we do need to do the administrative stuff. So yeah.
So with that, we'll call it a friendly amendment.
Does
The
that give us,
21st.
how long does that give us?
That would be to Friday the 17th at 5, can we say 5
For
p.m.?
like 10 days, 11 days?
Yes, that's another 10 days or so.
Since we meet on Tuesday, I'd be amenable to moving it to Monday. And then that stuff can get sent out to us Monday before the day before the meeting. But 10 days, just in the interest of everybody, I think if we can do that, that would be better. I guess I would ask Melissa if that is doable, or if Friday is definitely the right option.
Ms. Blankenship?
If the board agrees to receive the names of the individuals on the Monday prior to the meeting, I can make that happen.
So Commissioner Rowland, would you make it Monday, July 20th at 5 p.m.?
Yep. Let's do Monday, July 20th.
5 p.m. Is that okay?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. And Commissioner Chan, you're agreeable to that?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. All right. Just so we're clear, extend the deadline for the con committee to Monday, July 20th, 5 p.m. Very good. Okay. That is the motion. Discussion. Commissioner Fernhoff.
I don't know how this works, but we've had quite a few people actually come in through either email or be here in person. Do we have an outreach that we can do to those folks, or is it incumbent upon them to do the contacting us, that we don't contact them, or how does that work?
It can work either way.
No, I'm not volunteering. I'm just asking.
It can work any way.
Okay. I nominate Commissioner Chan.
There is a little bit of I don't know, actually, maybe it's a better question for Mr. Davis about whether if we specifically outreach to particular people based on their expressed beliefs to us, do we run afoul of any issues as a government?
No, and in fact, the statute sort of speaks to that. I don't have it on my screen any longer, but essentially says that the agency will appoint individuals that it knows to the pro committee to support, and those who are opposed to the con committee. So you could do outreach. There's no obligation to do so, but again, just a reasonable effort.
Discussion, Commissioner Chan.
Yeah, I agree with the outreach, but we not necessarily promise them to encourage them to apply. But I do want to, we need to go Edmond News really to show our efforts. I don't know, I have been in Edmonds, I involved in Edmonds quite a bit. I've talked to a lot of people. They really, feel, well, tonight is a good example. So I need to showing that we are up and above, we are really welcoming, the con group, and let them have, well known, because I don't know you guys know that. We, whatever gender, we are not that popular. People don't really know what's going on in here until we get to the newspaper. So I totally support Rich and have get Edmund News hearing that we need a con candidate on con side.
Commissioner Rowland, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think given the high dollar amount here, the last thing we want is for people to say that we have the opportunity to give more time and we chose not to because not having a com would benefit us. And I think that would just not be a good image for us. So I ask the other board members to support my motion. Thank you.
Other discussion on the motion? Any other discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Great, thank you. So we'll have that back on the agenda for the 21st. All right, moving forward then in the agenda to item 12, committee updates. We start first with capital facilities and Commissioner Winkelmann.
Next meeting will be next Monday. Capital Facilities is working well. Everything is coming together. Obviously working on the ProCom community committee. And yeah, just looking forward to our next conversation.
Great, thank you. Committee, the Finance and Human Resources Committee, Commissioner Chan.
We don't have, well, I'm debating, we may or may not have on the 9th. I'll discuss that. We're totally not prepared what issue we need to, should we have 2 meetings or 1 meeting? Yeah.
Okay. Great. Next up is intergovernmental with Commissioner Wittes.
Thank you. Last week, I attended the Association of Washington Cities conference over in Spokane, met with a lot of the city council members from our jurisdictions and also from Everett. And just so it's on the view there, Everett is looking at doing an interlocal agreement for annexation of the southern area, and they're looking at doing it towards the end of the year. They don't have a study back yet. They've went ahead and set that out to bid, or they're studying it now. And so they're looking at towards the end of the year for that. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. And then last we have Snow 911 with Commissioner Furno.
Yeah, the Snow 911 board did meet. I think probably the biggest highlight of it was Kurt Mills, who is the current director, sort of announced his potential retirement somewhere between now and 2 years, which we'll just kind of see how that plays out, and talking about lines of succession with Terry taking potentially over and maybe transitioning as director, or they'll go out for national search. These kinds of things were just sort of touched upon. Everything else was pretty much business as usual. Thank you.
Great. All right, that moves us forward in the agenda to item 13, commissioner comments. Are there any commissioner comments? Are there any commissioner comments? Commissioner Chan?
I do. The last week or so, we're so busy with our celebrations of our 250 years of established as the United States of America. So give me a lot of thoughts. And I go and dig out my little passport in here, and I just Google it. I double check. At that time, before independence, everybody living here is called the subjects of the United Kingdom, whatever. So I find in the passport, oh my God, that's a long time ago. And it does say that I'm a British subject, citizen of the United Kingdom and the colonies. So some of you I share with, I think I shared with Joe, saying that at that time I'm pretty challenging the British, everything. Starting with I was able to play rugby because it's a British thing, and I challenge many things. So I'm glad that I know exactly how our founder find is that, no, I don't want to be a subject. We want our own citizen. I want to really able to vote and determine the country. And I'm happy to say, I did say to you, I was here during the bicentennial, which is so old, said, look at the guy. And I really appreciate the country. Emotion. I mean, in a sense, it gave me a lot of opportunity for my education, for my my contribution, working the accounting firm and everything else, and really appreciate me here for 20 years in this organization. I don't know how many people don't like me or like me, whatever it is, but I'm glad I get a chance to be a part of the 5 District 1 and South County 5. And if good Lord allow, let me do some more and make it really a good organization to serve our people here. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Rowland, please go ahead.
I just wanted to thank everybody for everything they've done during July 4th. I know it's a stressful time of the year for all of our men and women in the service. I also wanted to say that I hear the comments, from the public around, it's not a good time for, the bond measure. And I want to say, I feel your pain as much as anyone else, but I would challenge anyone to look at a time in the last 10 years where that wasn't the case. These type of expenditures, or we should call them investments in our future, because that's really what they are. There's never a good time for them. Maybe when interest rates were at their historic lows and we would have gotten good loans, but at that time the economy was not doing well, and the country was reeling from COVID. So we were told, it's not a good time then, not a good time now. I don't think it's going to get better. But one thing's for sure, costs will rise, interest rates will, do what they always do, and that is double the price of almost anything we do. I ask for the public's, understanding that it may not be the optimal time for them, but we have to look at what's best for the whole. So I do want to thank everybody that has spoken out against it, and I'm glad that this board saw fit to do the right thing and give them the time they need to try to rally, to do community organizing, and to take part in our lovely democracy. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments? Any other commissioner comments? If not, our next item is item 14, which is going to be an executive session. It's to consider the selection of a site or the acquisition of real estate by lease or purchase pursuant to RCW 4230-110-1B. And Chief Maxwell, 30 minutes you think is good?
Yeah, 30.
I see we're kind of moving towards our break time. Why don't we take our recess and then reconvene an executive session approximately 8:25, and then we will have executive session for 30 minutes from 8:25 to 8:55. Chief, and we do not anticipate taking any action at the conclusion of executive session, correct? No. Okay. We do not anticipate doing so. So without objection, then we'll be in a brief recess back to executive session at 8:25. Thank you.
Good evening. The South County Fire regular Board of Commissioners meeting has been called back to order at 9:25 p.m. And without objection, we are adjourned.